What up, nerds? Bujo Head Jody here. I have been bullet journaling since 2017, and I would like to share my 2024 bullet journal with you. New year, new journal. And the one I'm using this year is from Notebook Therapy. I actually really recommend. I like a lot of their designs a lot. It's gorgeous. The cover feels really nice. It comes with this cute little bookmark thing, including the built-in ones, but it's got a moon and a star in it. This one's from the Suki collection. It is the Maple Moon edition. It's very pretty, and it's nice and plain inside. There's no extra index pages that I don't need because I don't use a lot of those. And they also have some really high GSM notebooks in the B5 that have a lot of pages in them, which is what I need, what I like, and I've got many years of experience, so this is just what I've decided, that this is my size, and this is, the type that I like. So the first couple of pages, I put my goal spread. Now these will be my 4 main goals or themes or whatever you want to do for your year. And I usually have it be a sentence that I've written in the past. So something like, I have run a marathon, something like that. And then I draw a little picture with it too. And right now I am listing out the number of boxes. Now compared to some other B5s that I've used, I've used the minimalism notebook in the past. There's a couple less spaces or dots on this. It's a little bit smaller than a standard B5, but it's still bigger than an A5, so we're all good. And at the top here, I'm putting my index. I don't use a whole lot of index pages. I basically have the spreads that you're going to see right now, which are the yearly spreads, and then I do my monthly spreads. Might be a couple collections in between. I've been doing this for so long that a lot of times I don't have other collections that I want to include, so I don't need a whole lot of space for my index, which is also why I like this, because obviously there's no pre-made index pages that are 4 pages long and I don't need. So I'm using the bottom of this page for my projects spread, just a list of sort of more long-term projects that I would like to get done throughout the year. They'll also have a done column so I can mark them what date that they were finished. A lot of these are things that I've kind of just been passing on from one journal to the next, so hopefully I think having this in the very front with my goals and my index page will help keep it a little more top of mind this year. That's one of my goals this year, is to actually get things done. And so we begin with the main 2024 spreads. This is the calendar section. It's a little long and tedious to put together because you have to write out all the little mini cals. But this is basically to keep track of all the important dates throughout the year, so that I already have some doctor's appointments set up for June, and so I'll put in when that doctor's appointment is. I also keep track of people's birthdays who are important to me, major holidays, appointments that are not in the current month that I need to remember. I do also keep a lot of this stuff in a calendar on my phone, but that all gets sort of condensed into the monthly calendar once it gets set up. So I sort of check all my resources of where there are possible places that there are events once I set up my monthly spreads, and everything from the calendar on my phone to this calendar to any physical calendars I've been using or need to reference, or if I know there are events every month and I just don't bother to write them down. Once I make my monthly spreads, I check those resources and I write those down. But for now, we are going through the tedious task of writing all this down. Now these 4 boxes at the bottom, most of the spreads and most of the point of my bullet journal is actually personal finance. So these are some key tracking points that I keep to sort of keep track of how I'm doing throughout the year. And so these are like totals of certain things and differences for that year or that month. And so that is, so I can see those totals and how they change throughout the year, all collect in one place. You see those large boxes next to the month title. Every month I have a different theme and different colors that I use, so I actually fill in those colors every time I set up my monthlies. I also highlight on the mini calendar when each date is using that month's signature color. And sometimes I can't remember what date certain months start on, and it's fine. So just enjoy the rest of the year, and I'll come back to you when that's finished. with the year finished, we get to basically the meat and potatoes of this spread. These are all my personal finance trackers here. So this top left one is the slush fund. This is basically everything in the savings account that I'll pull regularly from. So this is money that we're keeping sort of in budgetary circulation. It's just sort of to keep track of where all that is, the interest, the difference, the total each month. And with that one, I make a little graph. And then the second section here is the income replacement, which building up to get a certain number of months, amount of replacement if I were to unexpectedly lose my job. It's also sort of like a, emergency fund. And that will come with a little jar that I will then color in to see how far that will fill up. And then the third section, the bottom here, this is my retirement contributions. This is basically going into my Roth IRA, and so it's a set amount every month, and this also will have a little jar next to it with an illustration to indicate, I'll color it in per month. Fun fact, the dots and each level of each jar, that color will coincide with the color theme that I have decided on for each month. So it becomes very colorful. This second page, the top one is investment accounts. I just keep track per month of my different investment accounts. And this tiny little section here, this will be labeled as tax brackets. I actually do the payroll at my 9 to 5, and so I can actually sort of do the equation back and figure out, per hour, what am I actually getting after taxes. Obviously, with tax brackets, the more I make per month, the more gets taken out. So that equation changes the more I make per month. So there's different range, and then I have the equation. The bottom of the spread is actually for credit cards. I do play the credit card game. I had an achievement this past year. I have 20 total credit cards. Sounds like a lot, but I don't pay any fees on them, and I mostly get them to get intro bonuses. And to do that, you need to make a minimum spend. Say, spend $500 in 3 months. So this spread right here is to keep track of the minimum spend. So I have to spend, $500 on something in 3 months. So I keep track of what date that has to be done by and the total running amount on that. And then I added this spread here because I'm always trying to keep of new cards I want to try to apply for, what are good options, that kind of thing. So I have an official list now. I used to just sort of look whenever I wanted to go apply for something about what was best at that time. So hopefully by keeping a track of a list beforehand, I can make more studied decisions about which one to go for. A lot of credit cards have limits on how quickly you can apply to them, so it's better to wait a little bit longer so that you can get a better card. And now we just fill in all of the details. Lovely. Very colorful. And so now we move on to the real credit card spread. This one is simple. There's a lot more I do to fill it out, which I will not be showing you because it has my credit card details on there. But I'm basically making these boxes with rounded edges, and they look a little bit like credit cards. And then I will fill them with the information. So I generally will, each credit card has a sort of nickname, it's like initials to it, and then I have the last 4 numbers of the credit card, the issuer, the name of the card itself when I opened it. That is actually really interesting information that sometimes you can't find very easily on your account, and is very important to know for when you want to try to apply for a new credit card. You have to know when you last applied for several other credit cards. And then my limit, and then what each, what percent back I'm getting for what categories, and like basically what are the features, which is great for deciding, okay, well, so it's October, and so, you know, the Discover It card is doing 5% on restaurants, so I need to use that instead of something else that is not as good. I also keep track of if I've used it in a certain quarter. A lot of cards, if you don't use them at least once every 6 months or once a year or something like that, they'll shut the card down. And with 20 cards, it's hard to keep track. So I have a little tracker there just to see when I last used, in which quarter I last used it. Because if it's at least 6 months, it's fine. Most cards, it's like a year. Some, they don't care if you use it. So it's just easier to be like, oh, okay, well, I used that in Q3, so we're fine. There's sort of like basic information about that. I do also, a couple of my credit cards, I have the same one multiple times, and this is also just to keep those separate. So sometimes I will use this to look up exactly which Freedom Unlimited this card is. So it's nice to have. With this, there's many, many boxes, so there are actually more than I need here. So if and when I get new credit cards this year, I will continue to fill this out. There's another reason why having a B5 is really nice that I like, because there's enough space where I can do this on 2 pages and having to take up, say, 3 or 4 like I would have to in an A5. spreads are dealing with what I'm reading and what I'm watching this year. So right now I am building a bookshelf. It doesn't look like it, but it will. This is actually a spread that I have had all the way back since 2019. I really like it. What I do is I fill in the shelves and I draw the little books, and I don't fill out the titles until I've started reading the book, and then I will color in the titles as I finish it. And usually this also is tied to the color of the theme of the month, and so I will color it whatever colors are the theme of the month. So this bookcase and the watch spread, which I call screen time, is also goes along with those color themes. So it becomes very colorful, sometimes a little weird. You can tell, I think last year, a lot of pinks and purples, so you knew I read a lot of books in the month of February. And then on the right-hand side of this spread, I will draw little tiny TVs. So I'll let you watch me draw little books forever, and then we can watch me draw little TVs forever. not look like much, but they are very cute. And they're a little tedious to draw, but they're pretty easy. And I don't know if you can tell, but they are not very precise. So I think they look good, even though they're not, every single one is not completely uniform or completely perfect. Which is something I like about a spread. It does not have to be perfect to still look cool. So I use this gray pen to fill in kind of the static of the TV, and that is where I will draw, or I will write the title of the TV show or the movie that I've watched. Movies, they get one TV. With TV shows, I usually do it by season, so if I've watched a full season, that will take up one TV. And when I finished watching it, I'll actually color the outside of the set. I won't color the screen just for these little TVs. For the book, the title just goes in the book, and then I color the whole book that color. But that's just how I do it. And with those done, we move on to my running spread. I'm a runner, I'm a track star. I'm not very fast, but I have run a half marathon. It was a goal in 2020, and I did it last year. Granted, they canceled the one in 2020 that I had signed up for, but I used to have a big, long training schedule, but I finished that one, and so now I've moved on to a different training schedule. So this spread was a lot bigger in previous years. You can go back and see those. I have last year's and I think the year before as well up. So they work on a weekly basis. I usually run on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, with Sunday being the long run and Tuesday, Thursday being sort of a shorter run. I cross train, which is usually stretching and a little bit of strength training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturdays I rest. So this spread will hold all of the different sort of running patterns that I have to do. So, run for 10 minutes, walk for 5, run for 10 minutes, run for 35 minutes, fast run for 2 minutes, walk for 1 minute, run for 7. Different combinations like that. I think these schedules I actually pulled from the Couch to 5K series, and I think this is the faster Couch to 5K series. I'm actually doing following another program right now called Run Dot, which is also interesting, which is a slightly different setup. But this is just to keep track. This spread that I'm working on right now is actually the race results spread. So I write down what date the race was, what the name of the race was, the type it was, like a 5K or 10 miler or something like that, and then my official time. And then we finish off by just writing the titles on there. And then my final weekly spread will start on this right-hand page. And I haven't entirely decided how I'm doing this, but I play Pokemon Go, and if you play that, you know they have these stickers on these gifts that you send to each other, and they're not well organized, and it annoys me, and I just want something to organize them, so we're gonna attempt something. But that's it. We have the credit cards, we have the running, the books, the financial spreads, all of 2024, and my projects and goals. Hopefully you enjoyed, and will stick around this year. Thanks a lot. Bye.